I can't stand anything about you. Just the family will go, so you, old lady, just staying clean." With these words, Linda hurled insults at me in a tone worse than usual. I felt dizzy with her harsh words. A family trip planned by Linda. We've had our ups and downs, but I believed Linda had finally accepted me as part of the family. How foolish I was to think so. My hopes were shattered, and I felt utterly betrayed. I've been put through so much pain, again and again. It's something that should never be forgiven. To take my revenge and make her pay, I started plotting. My name is Laura, I'm 58 years old. I live with my husband William and our son and his wife. William has grown frail and needs care. I was relieved and grateful that our son and his wife lived with us, as it seemed hard to care for William and work at the same time. However, not everything was good. Most of my troubles involved Linda, my son's wife. When David introduced her as his fiancée, she seemed like a nice woman. But once they married and started living with us, I realized Linda was brazen and selfish. Today was another day her actions angered me. When I returned from work and checked on William, it seemed he hadn't been fed or changed. Exhausted from work, I had to feed William, bathe him, and put him to bed. These tasks should have been done by Linda, a housewife not working outside, or David, who was just idling at home. But the couple didn't help with caregiving or household chores, leaving me to do everything after work. "You're always troubled because of me. I'm truly sorry." William apologized, struggling to speak. His words pained my heart. "It's not your fault, William. Don't worry about it," I replied with as much kindness as I could muster. The real problem was the son and his wife, who did nothing at home. The reason they neglected household duties was because of Linda. When they first moved in, David was still working, and Linda, being a housewife, I had hoped she would help with some of William's care and household chores. However, Linda shook her head. "Why should I be the one to take care of him? Isn't that your job, Laura, as his wife?" I vividly remember feeling dizzy at Linda's words. I have to leave the house for over 8 hours due to work. Leaving William without care during that time is absolutely not acceptable. I tried to persuade Linda, but she never agreed. Initially, I thought of quitting my job to care for him, but soon after, David was fired. Now, I'm the only one supporting our family financially. If I quit my job, William and the couple would be in trouble. I couldn't bear to see my dear family suffer. Linda didn't stop there, she even influenced David. At first, David said, "I'm not working, so maybe I should help with the caregiving?" But Linda scolded him for that. "It's all Laura's responsibility, the caregiving and housework. To start saying you can't do it is utterly irresponsible. We can't allow that." Initially confused by Linda's words, David gradually began to believe they were right. Moreover, Linda convinced him. "We're living fine even without working, so why make unnecessary efforts?" Thus, she made him stop looking for a job. Linda has a strong personality, and according to David, she has always been my guiding light. Trusting in Linda's guidance completely, David has even stopped job hunting and now just relaxes at home. Of course, he doesn't help with any household chores or caregiving. Such a lifestyle is unbearable. I've repeatedly asked them to resume job hunting or at least help with caregiving and chores. But every time, Linda accuses me of trying to turn David into a servant, saying I'm cowardly for not wanting to do caregiving and housework myself. Trusting Linda completely, David has turned cold towards me. "I never thought Mom could be such a terrible person. I'm disappointed." Hearing that was a real shock. I thought I was acting for the family, but my intentions never reached David. Where did I go wrong? Was it a mistake to hope for an easier life by living with them? But life was indeed tough every day. Caregiving takes its toll on both mind and body. Watching William weaken day by day was distressing. I feared what would happen if I became too weak to move. Maybe it was naive to expect living together would ease these worries. Yet, I was truly grateful they offered to live with us, and I still am. But enduring such a life physically and mentally has been hard. With more people living together, the household chores have become increasingly difficult. Managing them all alone is just too much to handle. Is it so selfish to want some help? Am I wrong to think this way? Would everything be fine if I just managed better? There's no clear answer, and I'm just getting worn out. Then, one day, David, relaxing in the living room, told me about a family trip Linda was planning. Apparently, Linda's parents gave them plane tickets, and the departure was imminent. Maybe a family trip will cheer Dad up, and Mom, you need a break from working hard every day. Those words warmed my heart. I had thought Linda disliked us, even hated living in the same house, but it seemed I was wrong. The hotel Linda booked was well equipped for accessibility, suitable for William. She had gone out of her way to find such a hotel. For the first time, I saw a caring side of Linda and thought she might be kinder than I had imagined. But it didn't take long for me to realize that my hope was in vain. On the actual day of the trip, Linda saw me, excited from preparing since the day before, and laughed. Was it so funny that I was excited, despite my age? Confused as to why she laughed, Linda spoke while still laughing. I can't stand anything about you. We're going as a family, so you stay here and clean, old lady. I was taken aback by her sudden words. A family trip excluding me, and I should clean. Does that mean I'm not family? Her attitude and words were so hurtful I could barely stand. Linda, seeing me like this, laughed. Serves you right. I had had enough. Linda had constantly ridiculed and acted selfishly towards me, so she deserved to be punished. That's why I planned a thorough revenge. Okay, have fun then, I said. To this, Linda laughed even more. Oh, are you okay with that? Good. We didn't book a spot for you anyway. If you had insisted on coming, you might have ended up sleeping outside. Hearing Linda's words, I let out a heavy sigh. She never intended to take me on the trip. I was not family to her. I was an annoyance to her. It must be for that reason. I thought I had always carefully protected and cherished my family, including my son and his wife, and William. But only my husband, William, seemed to have received those feelings. Laura, are you okay? Even William, whose consciousness was clouded by illness, seemed to realize the heavy atmosphere. Feeling sorry for him, I answered as brightly as I could. I'm fine. But William still looked uneasy. They're taking you on the trip, right, William? I asked. Linda replied. Of course. William is part of our family. If at least William could get a change of scenery, that wouldn't be so bad. Then have a good trip. I'll do as I was told and clean while waiting, I said with a smile. Linda, hearing this, said, I appreciate your understanding. But David, who had been watching us, worriedly interjected. Mom, are you really okay with this? Maybe something can be done even now. David interjected, looking worried. However, Linda glared at him and scolded. What? Be quiet. This is revenge on Laura, who always bullies me. Obedient to Linda's words, David said, Okay. And fell silent, not saying anything more. Then, the time to leave the house as planned approached. The son and his wife, along with William, hurriedly left the house to catch their flight. I sent them off with a smile. I'm not the type to give up here. I had a special revenge plan in mind. And I sent them off with a smile, just for the sake of implementing it. Now, what should I do? I'd like to make them thoroughly experience hell, a fate just like that. With that thought, I started my work. First, I thoroughly cleaned the house. I took all the furniture out into the yard. There was so much dust, especially where the furniture had been. Honestly, it took half a day just to move everything out, but since the son and his wife wouldn't return for a week, it seemed like a good opportunity. I had taken the week off work, and I thought it would be nice to use this full week for my revenge. After moving all the furniture, I spent about 4 hours vacuuming every corner of the house. A considerable amount of trash came out, so I finished vacuuming each room in several turns, then I mopped the entire house. That's how the first day ended. Since I had moved out all the bedding, including the bed, I decided to sleep on the floor. Since it's just me, there's no point in fretting over the details. Surprisingly, it was quite nice to be able to lie down on the floor without worrying about anyone else. On the second day, I cleaned the areas I hadn't been able to get to and started looking for a temporary base. There was a weekly mansion not too far away, so I decided to stay there for a while. Next, I found a mover to transport the furniture. Fortunately, it wasn't their busy season, so I found a mover who could transport the furniture by the next day. In the meantime, I polished all the furniture. All this furniture was bought by me. In other words, they're mine. I would never allow the son and his wife to get their hands on them. That's why I was determined to take them back no matter what. Both the furniture and the house were immaculately cleaned. The furniture looked as good as new, and the house seemed as if it had just been built. After finishing what I could do right away, I walked around the newly cleaned house, reminiscing about the past. I had been indebted to this house for a long time. I think I bought it when my career was just starting to take off. Back then, William was still healthy and working, and we talked about supporting each other in the future. It was also the house where David grew up. Walking around, I found traces that held emotional significance. This is from that time, and this is. Just walking and thinking about it filled me with deep emotions. But it was time to say goodbye to this house. I didn't know whether someone new would live here or if it would be demolished, but I probably would never return here again. That night, I slept while thinking about the house. I was sad to leave my spotless, proud home and tears welled up, but this separation was necessary for my revenge. The next day, the movers came. I had them transport everything to the weekly mansion I had arranged, and I left the house at the same time. Then, I contacted a real estate agent to sell the house. They promptly assessed it and set a price. Due to the age of the house, the price was much lower than when I bought it, but I didn't care. Selling the house was my primary goal. After entrusting the future to the real estate agent, I began living in the weekly mansion and started looking for a new home. I found a condominium with barrier-free facilities, nearby caregiving services, and other convenient amenities. It seemed like a place where William could live comfortably. I contacted the owner immediately, and they invited me to come and see it. I quickly got ready and headed there. The condominium was even nicer than the pictures on the internet. When I arrived, the owner and the real estate agent were there and explained everything carefully. Although smaller than the house I had lived in, it was spacious enough for us to live comfortably. And from now on, it would just be the two of us, without having to consider the son and his wife. The attitude of the owner and the real estate agent was very good. I felt I could trust and entrust them with this matter. When I expressed my positive consideration, they offered it to me at a very reasonable price. I couldn't miss this opportunity. I decided to sign the contract immediately, and the owner seemed quite pleased. They said I could move in the next day, so I decided to move my furniture and belongings then. Everything was going smoothly, almost as if supporting my revenge. I couldn't believe how well everything was working out. But everything was indeed going well. I felt affirmed in my revenge and was in a very good mood. And I resolved to carry out my revenge properly. A week passed since the son and his wife and William left for their trip. Knowing their flight's arrival time, I drove to the airport. Waiting for them at the airport, Linda noticed me first and approached with a laugh. "Isn't that Laura? Did you miss not being able to go on the trip? If you like, I can buy you some airport souvenirs." "We didn't buy any for you." Linda's mocking attitude. To her words, I replied, "I don't need it. It's a waste of money." Then Linda said resentfully, "How cheeky." I made a proposal to Linda. "Could I take William with me? There's a place I want to take him," I said, and Linda tilted her head but soon laughed. "Sure. Since you couldn't go on the trip, you must want to create some memories at the airport, at least." She took on an even more mocking attitude. If it were the old me, I would have been irritated by this attitude, but now, Linda's words didn't bother me at all. Because the revenge play had already begun. I parted ways with the son and his wife and took William to our new home. William seemed puzzled by the different destination, but trusting me, he complied. After explaining the future plans at the new house, William expressed his willingness to follow me, saying, "If that's what you decided, I'll go along with it." Just like my husband. In about 30 minutes, the son and his wife would probably arrive at our former home. By then, it was likely already sold, and probably the locks were changed, so they wouldn't be able to enter the house. I couldn't help but smile, imagining their confusion. Looking forward to that moment, I soon received a call from Linda. "Laura, it's terrible. We can't get into the house," Linda shouted frantically over the phone. In the background, it sounded like David was desperately trying to open the door. "Laura, where are you guys? Please come back quickly." Linda seemed unable to accept the situation, sounding panicked. I couldn't help but laugh, everything was going according to plan. All of this was orchestrated by me. It's a punishment for people like Linda and David, who betrayed and were ungrateful to us, their family. "I'm sorry, but I'm not coming back. That house isn't ours anymore." When I said this firmly, Linda shouted, "What do you mean by that?" I patiently explained to her, unaware of what was happening. "Listen, I sold that house. It was tough because I had to clean it. Now William and I are in a new home. I didn't think I could do all this in a week, so I guess I'm lucky." "What? You did all that on your own, and you think it's okay? We're family." "Family?" She left me behind, saying I wasn't family. When it's convenient for her, she treats me as family, trying to bring about a self-centered outcome. Such cunning and selfishness made me sigh deeply. As if shocked by that, Linda blurted out in a panic, "What's all this about? If you have something to say, just say it." Since she asked, maybe it's my duty to answer. I decided to speak my mind. "Family? Don't be ridiculous. You were the one who excluded me from the family. Remember, you said I wasn't family, so you wouldn't take me on the trip? And now you want my help and treat me like family? Isn't that too convenient? To live off someone's support and have the nerve to say that." Linda tried to respond to my words. "Don't say such terrible things. We're really in trouble. Please, I beg you, help us." Her voice was filled with panic and anxiety. She was genuinely asking for our help. That's how her voice sounded. The old me might have reached out as family, but she on the other end of the phone was not family, so there was no need to help. I'm sorry, but give up. No matter what you say, my heart won't be moved. That's how much I've given up on you. It's useless, no matter how hard you try. I said this and hung up the phone. Then Linda and David called and messaged countless times. It was so annoying that I blocked their numbers. They don't know where we've moved, so they can't contact us anymore, but I can learn about their situation through relatives. After being kicked out of the house, the son and his wife had a huge fight. Linda, feeling she couldn't go on with David, proposed a divorce that day and went back to her parents' house. But her parents were furious at her actions. She wasn't allowed in their house and was kicked out. Even if she wanted to reunite with David, he had already filed for divorce and found a new place, making contact impossible. David regrets his actions and inquires about us through relatives. I've already informed the relatives, so no information about us gets back to him. He seems genuinely concerned about whether we are doing well. What David did is not forgivable. But I sympathize with his inability to act on his own opinions, always scolded by Linda. I'm thinking of giving him a chance to be part of the family again if he truly shows remorse. For now, I will not do anything and just observe David's behavior through relatives. If possible, I would like to take a new step as a family. I want to watch over him carefully and as a mother. Quit loafing around, you useless old hag! Suddenly, a dull thud hit my back. As I involuntarily groaned and turned around, Marissa had stuck out her foot. Then, thuds kept hitting my back repeatedly. I heard Mel barking at Marissa, trying to protect me. Ugh, so annoying. I'm going out for a bit, Marissa said before leaving. Stunned by the unexpected pain, I was immobilized. Then, my mother-in-law Norma approached me. Don't just lie there in the way. You're a nuisance, Norma said, her words unkind and her gaze full of inconvenience, causing tears to spill from my eyes. Sensing my distress, Mel growled at Norma. Oh, scary, scary. Train that thing properly. Unlike you, I'll be going shopping with the lovely Marissa. Norma left without helping me. My only ally was Mel, who looked worried and licked my face. After they had gone, I heard the front door burst open and sensed someone rushing in. Still unable to move. Are you okay? An unexpected person came to my rescue. I am Olivia, a 32-year-old housewife. My husband, Nathan, works for a major corporation. Having once worked there myself, we have plenty of savings, allowing us to live comfortably even with me being a housewife. For the past few years, we've been living with Nathan's mother, Norma, in his family home. How am I supposed to live on my own now that my husband is gone? After being pleaded with by Norma, who would call incessantly every day or suddenly visit, we reluctantly agreed to live together. Initially, Nathan and I planned to share household duties while continuing to work, but a wife working is out of the question. If you work outside, you'll definitely cheat, Norma harassed me daily, even calling my company and causing work disruptions, leading to my resignation despite being retained. Upon this, Nathan apologized to me and scolded Norma. Just a minute, Olivia. My room is a mess. Oh, Norma, didn't you tell me not to enter your room because you didn't want me touching anything? So, please take care of it yourself. Or have you forgotten that already? Maybe we should get you checked at the hospital? You. Moreover, I'm not one to hold back in response. Having lost my parents early on, I've faced my fair share of hardships, so I won't be defeated by Norma alone. Nathan has given me the green light to speak my mind without reservation against his mom. Speaking of Nathan, he has a brother, Marcus, who is dearly adored by Norma. Honestly, I'm not fond of my brother-in-law, Marcus. I've met him a few times, but he's always expressionless, doesn't even twitch an eyebrow when Norma clings to him, and his aloofness makes it hard to understand what he's thinking. As a result, I keep my distance from Marcus, which means I also have little to do with his wife, Marissa. However, I've heard from Nathan that their marriage was heavily pushed by Norma and Marissa's parents. He's not a bad person, though, Nathan would say with a wry smile about the stoic Marcus. Then, unexpectedly, "Hello. We'll be in your care from today." "What?" "Oh, welcome, both of you." Marcus and his wife appeared at the entrance with a lot of luggage. And at Marcus's feet was a restless small dog. "What are you doing? Hurry up and bring in the luggage." "Wait a minute. What's this about?" I asked, confused, and Marcus looked puzzled. Apparently, Marcus was transferred to a new hotel nearby, and due to Norma and Marissa's strong insistence, they decided to move in with us. And today was their moving day. I was not informed about this. Indeed, Norma had ordered me to stay home today, but... "You didn't know?" Yeah. Marcus sighed deeply at my response. Then, he looked around the house. "Where's Nathan?" "Nathan is on a long business trip." Unfortunately, Nathan was on a long business trip. He couldn't refuse the trip related to his qualifications, and he left worried about me. I wanted to go with him, but I stayed behind, defeated by Norma's hysterical screaming. I've been outplayed. If I had been told, I would have opposed living with Marcus and his wife, or followed Nathan on his business trip. They must have kept it a secret until the last day for that reason. Norma gives me a nasty smirk. "Move it! Standing there, you're just in the way." "Carry your own luggage." "Sorry, but could you please take care of Mel?" Marcus sighed deeply again and handed me the leash of the small dog. The little dog, Mel, seemed friendly, quickly warming up to me with sniffs and licks. Though taken aback by the suddenness, I fell in love with adorable Mel, as I've always liked dogs. Nevertheless, I made sure to report this incident to Nathan. "What were you thinking? Making decisions about moving in together without telling us? Olivia could have come to stay with me." "Don't be ridiculous. Marcus and his wife are tired. We need to help them settle in." Despite Nathan's scolding over the phone, Norma seemed unfazed. Worst of all, in the chaos, Norma hid something precious of mine, leaving me unable to leave for Nathan's. So, I had no choice but to continue living with them. "Let's get along from now on." I might be younger, but as the wife of Marcus, the eldest son, I rank above you." "Huh?" "So, we're clear." Old-timer. I had a bad feeling not only about Marissa, who said this, but also about Marcus, who just silently watched us. The days that followed were challenging. Despite being a housewife like me, Marissa did no household chores. "Oh, can you take care of this too?" "It's no trouble since you're already doing it, right?" Marissa, in cahoots with Norma, dumped everything on me. Norma favored her because she was Marcus's young wife. "Marissa's beautiful hands would suffer if she did the dishes. Olivia, you do them." They pushed all the dishwashing onto me. "Marissa's pretty face would get dirty if she cleaned. Olivia, you do the cleaning." They dumped all the cleaning tasks on me too. Marissa just tagged along and laughed. Apparently, Marissa's family has been wealthy hoteliers for generations, never having to struggle, accustomed to having others do everything for them. So, having others do household tasks was normal for her. "Come on, do your own share at least." It saves on the water bill if we do it together. Plus, what's the difference between doing it for one or two? Marissa is right. You have nothing but household skills, so just do it quietly. It was manageable when it was just Norma, but with Marissa joining in, it became troublesome. It was a constant battle of 2 against 1. With the increased number of people, I was the only one doing chores, adding to my burden. That I could still endure. But Marissa even pushed the care of Mel, the dog they brought, onto me. Mel's walk is your task today too. Hey, you brought him. He doesn't listen to me. Plus, taking him for walks is good exercise for you, right? You need to stay active while you can, unlike me in my 20s. You're elderly in your 30s. She mocked me with those words. To 25-year-old Marissa, I, at 32, might seem old. But what about Norma? And Marcus, her beloved, is 36, more than a decade older than her. Yet, weighed down by the daily chores and caring for Mel, I couldn't muster the energy to retort. Incidentally, Marcus has the kind of looks that could make him a model if not for his aloofness, appearing quite youthful. Marissa is deeply in love with such a Marcus, acting all cute and lovely in front of him. So, there would be no scorn or dumping of chores if Marcus was around, but, being busy, he always comes home late and is unaware of the situation. Oh, Mel. Are you trying to comfort me? The only ally I have is Mel, who, feeling attached, is licking my hand even now. Mel's presence is also a reason I can't leave this house. Without me, Mel would quickly decline. All I could do was fret over the current situation. Let's take a break. Between household chores and taking care of Mel, I was utterly exhausted. Mel is still okay. He's become my source of comfort, after all. But being burdened with all the household chores, lately, I've been ordered to redo laundry because the folding wasn't to their liking or the seasoning wasn't right. And then they go out to eat or buy new clothes, making my efforts all for naught. Completely drained mentally, I decided to lie down for a break, just 5. No, 3 minutes. As I was drifting off with Mel snuggling up to me, feeling his warmth. Ouch! A sharp pain shot through my back. Quit loafing around, you useless old hag! Another dull thud hit my back. As I involuntarily groaned and turned around, Marissa had stuck out her foot. Then, thuds kept hitting my back repeatedly. I heard Mel barking at Marissa, trying to protect me. Ugh, so annoying. I'm going out for a bit, Marissa said before leaving. Stunned by the unexpected pain, I was immobilized. Then, my mother-in-law Norma approached me. Don't just lie there in the way. You're a nuisance, Norma said, her words unkind and her gaze full of inconvenience, causing tears to spill from my eyes. Sensing my distress, Mel growled at Norma. Oh, scary, scary. Train that thing properly. Unlike you, I'll be going shopping with the lovely Marissa. Norma left without helping me. My only ally was Mel, who looked worried and licked my face. Help me. Nathan. I could only call out for Nathan, who wasn't here. After they had gone, I heard the front door burst open and sensed someone rushing in. Unable to move due to the pain in my back. Are you okay? An unexpected person came to my rescue. Why? I saw everything that happened. The one who lifted me up was Marcus, pointing at a pet camera. Actually, there was a pet camera in the room, brought by Marcus for Mel. I thought I'd look at Mel on the pet camera to get some comfort during my break. This pet camera could be checked from a smartphone. And it had become a habit for Marcus to watch Mel during his breaks. Today, he saw everything that happened with me, Marissa, and Norma, and hurried back home after getting permission from his workplace. I'm truly sorry for what my family did. Marcus then took me to the hospital. Fortunately, I hadn't fractured anything and didn't need to be hospitalized. But considering my situation, it was decided that I couldn't return to that house, so Marcus arranged for me to stay at the hotel he worked at. Nathan, it's me. Come to the hotel I'm about to tell you as soon as you can. I'll let the hotel know. Marcus immediately contacted Nathan and offered to pay for the stay. Initially hesitant, but, please, just let me make this right. And if those two contact you, you can ignore them. Hearing this, I decided to accept his help. Afterwards, as soon as I lay down on the fluffy bed, I fell asleep almost instantly. When I woke up, it was evening, and the sound of my ringing smartphone woke me. Excuse me, Nathan has arrived, so I brought him. Olivia! Are you okay? Nathan. Tears nearly spilled at the sight of Nathan rushing over to me. Nathan and Marcus, both showing concern for me. Suddenly, Marcus's gaze shifted to my continuously ringing smartphone. Olivia, sorry. I'll answer it. After saying that, Marcus took my smartphone. He immediately put it on speaker, so we all could hear the voice. Where have you gone? And ignoring my calls. If you have time to play, then hurry back and start cooking. Today we're having something luxurious. Marissa. With just one word from Marcus, Marissa's complaints came to a halt. Marcus. The words that followed were trembling. She probably never expected Marcus to answer. Why is Marcus? Pet camera. I saw everything you did. No way. Stay quiet at home until I return. Tell Mom the same. With that, Marcus ended the call and handed me back the phone. His cold tone towards Marissa contrasted with his genuinely concerned expression for me. Then, I was going to stay in the hotel with Nathan tonight and return home temporarily tomorrow. After sorting out some work, Marcus opened up about his feelings. To be honest, I detest my mom internally. It seemed Marcus was fed up with Norma's suffocating love and meddling in everything. Thanks to his late father-in-law, he had managed to escape home and live and work at a distant hotel. But, being forced into marriage, he was sent back home and thus stayed late at work to avoid being at home as much as possible. Apparently, Marissa fell in love with me at first sight, and my marriage was arranged by her and my father-in-law, who is a hotel owner. What does that mean? If they married me off to their daughter, they'd transfer me to a hotel being built near our home. That way, we could live together again. So, to Norma, Marissa was a dear ally who had brought Marcus back home, a benefactor for getting him to return. That's why she favored her so much. And for Marcus, home must have felt suffocating. He might be expressionless at home, but at work, Marcus always had a gentle and wonderful smile. Being at home must have been really stressful. What will you do now, Olivia? Why don't you come with me on my business trip? I'd love to, more than anything. I told them both about the important item that Norma had hidden. Immediately, both showed angry expressions, truly brothers. Mom. I'll never forgive her. We'll definitely get it back tomorrow. Go with Nathan and don't worry. Encouraged by Marcus's words, I nodded. The next day, taking a day off, Nathan, Marcus, and I returned home together. Do you understand what you've done? How dare you hurt someone important to me? I'll never forgive you. That's... Both of you, calm down. Now it was 2 against 3, a complete reversal of the situation. By the way, I had recorded all the previous verbal abuse. Hearing it, Nathan and Marcus looked so menacing, I was scared myself. Olivia is not your housekeeper. She will go with Nathan to the business trip. I'm utterly disappointed in you. That's because Olivia tricked. When Marissa tried to retort, Mel growled lowly at her. Mel, who had not shown himself since we arrived. In his mouth, he was carrying something. That's... What Mel had was my precious item, a ring that belonged to my mother. I had kept it safe, but Norma had taken it without permission. Mel found it for me. Overwhelmed, I petted Mel, and he happily wagged his tail. This dog was like an angel to me. Marcus, who had been smiling gently at us, turned back to Norma and the rest with a blank expression. If you object, I'm willing to consider divorce and separation. No way! We wouldn't object. At Marcus's words, both raised their voices in what sounded like screams. Neither wanted to be separated from Marcus, it seems. The acceptance was so straightforward it was anticlimactic. As I was about to pack my things and leave. Olivia, if you don't mind, could you take Mel with you? Really? Mel was whimpering sadly at my feet. I wanted to take him if I could. But Mel was supposed to be Marcus's source of comfort too. It's better for Mel to go with Olivia. If it's not too much to ask, I'd appreciate it if I could see him occasionally. Of course. Thank you so much. I thanked Marcus and left the in-laws' house with Nathan and Mel. For now, we decided to stay at a hotel within the same chain that allows pets. Because Nathan's temporary housing at his business trip location doesn't allow pets. The hotel arrangements were made by Marcus and Marissa's mother. It turns out the hotel business belongs to Marissa's maternal family. Marissa turned out the way she did because her father, who married into the family, spoiled her. On the other hand, her mother is strict, and not wanting to live with her, Marissa agreed to live with Norma. And now, her mother has arranged a new house for us as compensation for the trouble Marissa caused, as part of the divorce settlement. Is this really okay? Why not? If we didn't accept, we'd be apologizing forever. So, we gratefully accepted. Then, Nathan talked with his company and decided to stay at the branch office of his business trip location. A new employee with the same qualifications as Nathan has become independent at the headquarters, so the transfer was approved. Moreover, I was allowed to return to work at the branch office. What about Norma and Marissa? Marcus, me, and her mom took care of scolding them. I hadn't been to the in-laws' house because I was focusing on preparing for work and treatment, but afterward, the three of them went there to lecture Norma, Marissa, and Marissa's father. The trio was reportedly in tears, apologizing profusely. And as part of the divorce settlement, Norma and Marissa were made to work as cleaning staff at the hotel. Marissa's dad, wanting to avoid divorce at all costs, couldn't assist Marissa. Marcus said he keeps them in line by threatening divorce or separation whenever they start to complain. Thanks to Marcus keeping an eye on them, the compensation money from the divorce settlement has started coming in little by little. Buying treats for Mel with that money always brings him joy and comfort. Sometime after the incident, I received a call from Marissa. Please, convince Marcus. Apparently, Marcus had filed for divorce from Marissa after a portion of the settlement money was paid. Additionally, because they had moved out of the family home, both seemed to have lost their minds. Despite repeated pleas to reconsider and come back, they were ignored, and eventually, their contact was blocked. I'm really serious about Marcus. So, about Marcus? Your phrasing makes it sound like there are others. Marissa let out a regretful sound. It seemed she had dug her own grave, and I couldn't help but smile. That's not what I meant. Don't worry. I'll make sure to mention this to Marcus. Goodbye. Right before the call ended, I could hear Marissa's scream. Thinking, serves you right. I reached out to Marcus. Olivia, what's wrong? Did my ex-wife do something? I almost laughed at Marcus's immediate concern. Marissa might be seeing another man. Oh. That sounds worth investigating. Thank you for the information. After finishing my call with Marcus, Norma reached out next. I picked up the phone, somewhat amused, wondering what she would say. Do you know where Marcus has gone? Well, even if I did, I wouldn't tell you. What's that supposed to mean? Give me back my Marcus. I'll leave you with one last piece of advice. Marcus says he dislikes you. After kindly informing her, I heard Norma's stunned voice. That's a lie. Just telling you the truth. I replied and hung up. Imagining Norma's probable meltdown made me want to burst out laughing. At that moment, Mel came up to me, tilting his head and playfully engaging. Then, I heard that Marcus had successfully demanded the divorce settlement from Marissa. Marissa tried to appeal to her dad, but given that he was divorced from her mom, no help was forthcoming. Without Marcus, Marissa saw no reason to stay in the in-laws' house but had nowhere else to go. Norma, thoroughly disliked by Marcus because of Marissa, wanted to kick her out but couldn't afford to lose another breadwinner. So, they ended up living together, hurling insults at each other, as Marcus, now free and relieved, informed me. On another note, I received wonderful news. Olivia. What's the baby's gender? Looks like it's a boy. Really? Wow, I can't wait to meet him. Not long after leaving the in-laws' house, I discovered I was pregnant with Nathan's child. The absence of Norma's stress seemed to have welcomed the baby into our lives. Mel, sensing our happiness, joined in the celebration. Furthermore, I heard about an engagement from the ever-helpful Marcus. He was always opposed by Mom and forcibly separated. Marcus originally had a partner, but due to being forcibly married, they had split up. This time, he was able to reconcile with his ex-girlfriend and plans to marry her soon to ensure they won't be separated again. While preparing for the wedding, Marcus, who started training as a manager under Marissa's mother, seemed busy but had a genuine smile on his face. Then, I gave birth to our adorable son. Nathan has been very supportive with household chores and childcare, always taking action before I even need to ask, which has been a huge help. Mel loves his little brother too and rushes over to soothe him whenever he cries. Nathan and I found great comfort in their actions. Marcus, now far removed from his time in the in-laws' house, is enjoying his postponed newlywed life with a smile, alongside his new wife. His wife and I get along well, building a much better relationship than I ever had with Marissa. She's also a kind person who offers me help. Hey Nathan, can I go help out this time? Yeah, I'll come too. When our son was a bit older, we found out that Marcus's wife was pregnant. Now it was my turn to be there for her. This giving and receiving of help. I believe this is what family should truly be like. One shouldn't cling or depend entirely on someone else. And certainly, berating or resorting to violence is out of the question. To ensure Norma doesn't become a negative example of spoiling her beloved son too much. I swore that deeply in my heart.